Guten gardening, everybody. Well, can you guess what's in here? Now, I'm not zooming in any closer, so you have to try to figure this out on your own, but can you guess what's in here? No, a better question would be, can you guess why the greens that are in here right now are in this container? Why don't you pause the video and give a guess? Well, in this video, which is all about radishes, we're going to talk about why I think this is such a fantastic crop to grow outdoors and indoors, and why we think you should add it to your garden. And if you stay tuned throughout the whole video, I'll explain what this container is all about. You know, when I started thinking about the concept of this video, I had several reasons why I think radishes are such a valuable vegetable to grow. And as I continued thinking about it, continued processing through it, that number of reasons just kept growing and growing and growing. And so today I'm going to talk through a whole bunch of reasons why I think you should try growing radishes. And I think by the end of this, hopefully, even if you've never considered growing them before, you might consider giving them a try. Now, the first reason that I think you should grow radishes, I'm going to start with one of the obvious benefits of growing radishes. Actually, you can see right here in my green stalk vertical garden, I've got some radishes growing. And they've only been in there for a couple of weeks. You can see the greens right now, and I don't want to take a whole bunch of greens off, but I did accidentally break this one, so that's one of the reasons. We'll get there in a second. But a main reason to grow radishes is because they take such a little bit of time to develop. Between 30 and 45 days for most varieties from the time of planting the seed, and you can have radishes that are ready to be harvested. So it's a quick growing crop. And that lends to the second piece here, which is if you're somebody who really wants to maximize the amount of crops that you're growing in any given area, radishes are a fantastic crop when it comes to succession planting. Because if you can plant something, grow it to full maturity within a month or so, even if you have a short growing season, and now we can control our indoor growing season, we can stay indoors as long as we like, but if you have a short growing season, you can still typically get multiple plantings of radishes to grow, to harvest, and back again. And when I say that you can get multiple plantings in any given space, that lends me to the next point, which is that you can grow radishes in a really small amount of space. And I mean that in terms of width, and I definitely mean that in terms of depth. Now, we've done quite a few harvests with our radishes. We've grown some in ground, we've grown some in containers, we've grown plenty in our green stalk vertical gardens, but we've also grown them in trash can lids, those plastic trash can lids that are only a couple of inches deep in terms of soil, and they have performed well. I mean, our harvests from those trash can lids, and my daughter's actually completed a couple of those harvests, but our harvests have been productive and, again, fast. And actually, I mentioned that radishes work really well in ground as well, and that should bring us to our next point, which is that radishes have a really nice taproot. I mean, they're a root crop. So if you have a bunch of soil that hasn't really been broken up, you plant radishes in there, that'll actually help you to break up that soil as well. So that's just another reason why radishes are an excellent crop. And quite frankly, we love growing root crops anyway, but this is definitely one of the fastest growing root crops out there. And again, it can really help you out with your soil. And that moves me to taste. Now, taste. I was thinking about this a lot because, to be honest, and I think I've mentioned this in previous videos, when I was younger, I did not like the taste of radishes, store-bought radishes in particular. I didn't like the spiciness of it, really. But once we started growing radishes, I learned a couple of things. One, just like sweet potatoes, you learn just how many different varieties of the plant exist out there. So it's not just one type of radish, because there are definitely some radishes. We had a green wasabi radish. It was definitely spicier. There are also some radishes that are milder. I think the white icicle radish, which we've grown indoors as well, I think that is a milder radish, or at least in my opinion it is. So the taste of the radish, homegrown, is vastly different, really, in my mind, no comparison to the store-bought radish, and it's something to be enjoyed. And that enjoyment can come in another benefit of growing radishes, which is this is actually a really versatile vegetable. versatile in the way you can eat it, versatile in the foods that it pairs with as well. You know, we have grown radishes that we've eaten raw. Of course, sliced radishes on a salad, especially a salad you've grown at home, that's fantastic. Radishes that are roasted in the oven, cut them into cubes, add a little bit of salt, pepper, garlic, and a little bit of olive oil. Oh, it is delectable. And one of my favorites, a recipe that we made and that we did a YouTube short of, we made something called kakdugi, which is a Korean radish kimchi. I want to tell you something, that was amazing. So when I talk about the versatility of this, you know, of vegetables you get in a month and you can eat it in so many different ways, that is another benefit. Now, one of the things you should also know about radishes is that they tend to be a pretty good companion plant for a lot of different vegetables. They help to detract or distract, I guess we could say, some of the things like cucumber beetles and aphids from other main crops. So that's something else to keep in mind when it comes to radishes. All right, let's talk a little bit about the nutritional value of radishes, because that's something that I think about for our vegetables. And if you look online, it's pretty easy to find. Actually, ChatGPT will even bring up a list of the average amounts of the vitamins and nutrients that you can get from 100 grams of raw radishes. And one of the things you'll see here is that it's actually a pretty nice source of vitamin C, of fiber, and much, much more. So they're quick growing, provide plenty of nutrients, and on top of that, you don't have to just eat the radish bulb itself. That root part, you can also, as you saw me earlier in this video, eat the greens. And I'll tell you this too, the different varieties of radish greens, like the different varieties of radishes, the greens, in my opinion, reflect to some degree the spiciness level of the radish that they're growing. And the younger greens tend to be less spicy than the more mature greens. So that's something else to know, but you can eat both the tops and the bottoms. They make a great addition to salads. You can cook them up with other greens if you like to steam vegetables like that as well. So lots of options there for eating too. Well, I don't know if you're sold yet on growing radishes, but if you've tried before, you haven't tried before, I mean, we recommend you reconsidering at the very least and maybe try growing them even indoors. And now, as I promised, I need to tell you what happened here and why I've got a whole container, a plastic container with about an inch and a half of soil that mix in here, filled with radishes. And the reason behind that, if you guessed it, I'll be amazed, but I was actually getting my seeds from last year's radishes. I was pulling them from the pods, from the ones that went to seed. And I had this on the ground and I spilled a whole bunch of seeds. And I thought to myself, I could go through and try to pull out all these seeds, or, I mean, it's a small space. I know I at least can get some greens out of here. We'll see if we can get any kind of production from the roots too. But hey, you know what? I'm not going to get rid of these seeds. If nothing else, I got lots of greens to feed on. So there you go. That's the reason. And that makes me realize something else that I didn't mention before. One of the cool things about radishes, if they don't perform well for you and they go to seed really quickly before you even get a radish root, you can eat the seed pods. You can eat the flowers. We did a whole video on that. You can eat the flowers and seed pods, and they're delicious too. And of course, you could save those seeds like we did, and all the radishes we're growing here, well, those are from last year's radishes. So, what a fantastic vegetable to grow in your indoor or your outdoor space. And I tell you what, if you're somebody brand new to gardening and you're looking for a quick vegetable, or you're somebody who has kids and you want them to see the process and just how quickly the process goes, this might be the vegetable for you. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed today's video. We're not going to be around for about a week here because we're going on vacation. Don't worry, we got lots more content coming your way in the new year. Folks, if you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to give us a like, leave us a comment, remember to share and subscribe, and most importantly, remember, when you're with us, you are good to grow.